welcome to PCAC Pricing Therapy. Yes, welcome to my couch. I have had some interesting conversations recently with people, all different industries, all different networking events. And, I have a background in pricing of over 20 years. And sometimes the questions that I get on pricing make me go, do we really know what pricing entails, right? Like, do you really know what pricing is if that's a comment you made? And it's not a negative thing. It's just, I don't think that people understand pricing. And so I would like to welcome you to my therapy couch. And I would like to educate you a little bit and really talk to each other about what pricing is. And yes, I'm talking to you, but I just think that we need to have more conversations around what pricing really is. So, I'm starting this little video chat session. It's nothing specific to any particular industry. I just really think that more people need to understand what pricing is. So, I hope you're coming along with me for the ride. Welcome to my virtual therapy office, and let's get started. So, what do I want to talk about today? Where to begin? I think some of these, in order to keep them short segments, are going to have to kind of go in a maybe non-traditional order, but let's get started. So, a conversation I had recently with a group of people was about, is the pricing worth the value you're getting, right? And whether this is a service or like a professional service or a group or a product, right? Pricing really does set the value for whatever you are trying to sell to somebody. If you know a price and you know what your product is worth, then you should be able to scale and grow your company, right? If you're selling too high and the market's like, it's not really worth that, okay, then you're going to find your sweet spot and maybe you're going to hit a plateau, right? If you know you have the best product on the market, you know you have the best offering, then you can charge a premium and people will pay for it, right? That's how you kind of build that brand awareness as well. So, pricing is about knowing the value of your product. It can also be tied to your brand. It has to be tied to customer service ultimately. And so, when I talk with people about pricing and value, it's not a tactical aspect of your business, is it? Right? It's really in lockstep with your marketing department. It should be in lockstep with knowing obviously what your product that you're making actually costs you. But it's also about knowing your brand, what you want to be known for, and what you know the market will bear, what your product is worth. So understanding the value of your product along with your brand is something that's very, very pivotal to your pricing model. So go back to that value proposition, right? As you're selling your product, what is it worth in the market? Hmm. Well, first step, you really do have to know what it costs you to make your product, because in order to build a successful pricing model and scale a company, you do have to break even at a minimum, right? Even if everybody at your company makes exorbitant salaries and everyone's like loving it, you still have to break even. Otherwise, eventually you're going to go out of business. So, regardless of what your value is, you have to know your break even point, right? And that means you kind of have to back in and work with your finance team on what is a break even point for the company. What are your overall P&L, right? Profit and loss statements. What does that look like for the year? Those are things you need to understand about the budget to know how to even break even, right? Then from there, once you know your value, okay, that's your like minimum price, right? That's your floor, let's just say. And then from there, you have to take that floor and then you can really decide a couple things, right? Where you want to scale the company to. That'll help you set your pricing model. Also, knowing what your value is worth, right? What your product is worth. That's another layer to it. And it really boils down to kind of knowing the value, knowing your floor, maybe knowing your maximum as well, because there's going to be a threshold where people stop buying your product if it gets too expensive. So really doing that market research to figure out what your product is worth in the market and knowing your value are two very core pillars of knowing your pricing and knowing how to scale a company. So again, if you think pricing is like a static thing, maybe a tactical thing, you're dead wrong, because not only in this episode have we talked through that you need to work with finance, you need to work with marketing, you have to understand your break even point. I mean, these are really big data points at your company that you have to understand. Where are you headed? It's strategy, it's finance, it's marketing, it's knowing your value. It's all of these things put together. It's not, and I haven't even mentioned a single number yet, right? And so knowing your value, working with different departments to really define what a pricing model looks like is very pivotal to your pricing journey. And it's nothing tactical, it's very strategic, and it's working across a lot of different departments. So that's all I'm going to say on this episode. Let's get started. I hope you enjoyed your therapy session today and learned a little bit about pricing. It is not tactical, very strategic, a pivotal heartbeat center of your company. Stay tuned, and I will see you next